So this is a patron exclusive video. Nobody will ever see this other than my patrons. So I thought I'd give you guys a little exclusive tour of Charlie. Charlie, yeah, I just really realized today that I have never done a video on it, really, showing people around or anything like that. So I thought I'd do that for you guys and yeah, show you guys around, give you the backstory on it, and update you on the motor too, which probably be in a couple of days, which I'm super excited about. So that's the plan. So Charlie is a Ibis Magic GS700, super complicated name, but it's essentially Colombian designed and built 2-seat, all aluminum, light sport, experimental microlight kind of airplane. It was available in 2 forms when it was still manufactured. It was either a kit form or factory built. My dad got this kit in 2010. Basically, he had a wrecked Tecnam Echo that had a really good motor in it. Well, the motor didn't get hurt in the wreck, so he wanted to get back into flying and get something to put that motor into. So he bought the kit as an opportunity for us to bond, putting it together, and then flying it down the line too. Now, there were numerous delays in getting it done. Super long story short, 9 years later, the airplane was in pieces in a container here in New Zealand because we had in the meantime moved to New Zealand from Namibia, which is where we had the airplane originally. And my dad had completely abandoned aviation and flying and had no interest in, you know, the thing. So I then took it upon myself to take it out, assess all the damage because it was damaged during transport and there was a lot of complications and damage from the long storage, and just invest my own money and get this thing done and flying. It took me about a year and a half to get it done, about 1,000 hours I'd say. It's not completely done because one of the implications of it standing that long meant the motor was giving trouble, but we're almost there. So that's the background on Charlie. It's an all aluminum airplane. It's pop rivets, which makes it super easy to work on. And yeah, for the most part, it's a pretty solid little airplane. Like, it flies amazing. Like, I would say in the light sport category and this type of airplane, and I've flown a lot of my time, I'd say this is the best handling one I've ever flown. The Sling comes pretty damn close and the RV-12 comes pretty damn close. But the handling on this airplane is next to none. Yeah, so as you can obviously tell right now, there is no engine in here. Well, there's a block and a gearbox, but I took the heads off, which you guys would have seen the footage at the beginning of this video. Took the heads off and sent them to Thomas in Norway. He's rebuilding them right now. Actually, he's finished rebuilding them. They're on the way back. And we're gonna deal with that. It's got a Rotax 100 horsepower in it, carburetor, beautiful engine when it's not been standing for 9 years, and it has sticky valves and blow by and all of that stuff. What makes this airplane really, really good are the wings. These are called the Arrow wings. As you'll see when you look at the airplane from further back, it's got no dihedral in it, which is rare for an airplane like this. But for some other reason, it just makes it a really, really good handling airplane. It's also got a taper in it. Like, it's hard to explain or compare it to any wing because I don't know really what to compare it to. 172 has a pretty similar wing, but a 172 has a lot of dihedral. This does not. Yeah, but it's just a really good performing airplane. Like, it cruises around 100 knots, 105 knots, you know, at Rotax fuel burn, which is insane. And then you can take it down to 26 knots, 24 knots, you know, is where it stalls. So the envelope is insane. Like, it's really, really good for that. So one of the really, really cool things about the Ibis is obviously its interior. The truth about this airplane, or what I've been told by other people that own it, is that it was initially intended to be a drug airplane, because that just explains the enormous luggage compartment. And if you look right below the luggage compartment, you'll see a pretty nice big door that allows for something to be dropped out of it. So yeah, that's the rumor. It was initially intended to be a drug airplane, as cost effective as possible, disposable, and yeah, and it kind of just developed on from that. That's what I've been told. I have no idea how much value or truth is in that, but yeah. It's got beautiful bucket seats. I really like them. They're super comfy. The interior is abnormally good for something of the standard, you know, something kit built. But I mean, it's pretty simple, but it's just nicely done. I really quite like it. It's super easy to work on, to take anything off, on and off again. And yeah, it looks nice, but practically it's very simple and very workable, which I like. This is not real leather, of course. It's just synthetic leather, but looks good, so I'm not complaining. And then the piece of resistance is the panel. Now, in South Africa, MJL is like the major instrument supplier there for experimentals, so that's what I've got in here. New Zealand does not recognize it, so it's made the paperwork process pretty complicated, but yeah, everything on one panel. All my engine instruments down here. I can also change, you know, the displays if I wanted to. Quite a lot I could do with it if I really wanted to, but yeah, I've got all my engine stuff down here, airspeed tape, altitude tape. I've got an artificial horizon in here. I've got angle of attack sensor. It's fully loaded. Like for this type of airplane, this is way overkill. Like this is way more than this airplane will ever need. But it works, and that's all that I really care. And it's cost effective. Like this is about as expensive as a couple of steam gauges would be. So yeah, that's the panel. It's got electric flaps, which I think I've shown you guys the you know, the drooping flap system, the stall system. Really good system. I find that the amount of aileron control is a little lacking, I would say. I haven't flown it in serious crosswind yet. The most was on the first flight, which was 10 knots. And I didn't really, you know, I've completely managed to handle it, but it's got so little travel compared to what I'm used to. And I think it's just because the control setup means it's more responsive, so. But yeah, that's about it. The sight gauges on the fuel are just normal hoses. I actually need to replace these because I used non-fuel grade ones and they're drying up, so. But yeah, just normal sight gauges. That's how you know how much fuel you have. And yeah, that's about it with Charlie. Very basic little airplane. It was purely just intended to be a low-cost way to get in the air. New Zealand kind of manages to make low-cost flying not low-cost, but yeah, that's part of it, and I'm learning to navigate the system. It really is a fun airplane for me because it's so simple to work on compared to everything else I've ever worked on. It sometimes gets a little painful because just trying to source parts and stuff is hard, but because the manufacturer does not support this thing anymore. But the beauty is it's all AN hardware and everything is basically replaceable with, or you can substitute it with parts from another airplane. It's just a matter of figuring out what airplane. So like the landing gear is just straight off a Zenith 701. So that kind of stuff makes it nice, you know. It's workable, the airplane, and as an owner, that makes it worthwhile, you know. So the foreseeable future is that Monday the package is going to arrive with the motor parts in it. I'm going to obviously Monday be straight into it to try and get this motor assembled on Monday already. I'm not going to rush it in terms of compromise and safety, but I do want to get this thing flying as quickly as possible. Thomas from Edge Performance in Norway did an exceptional job on the heads completely reworked them, rebuilt them, brand new pistons, brand new carburetors, brand new fuel pump. We're basically trying to minimize anything that could potentially go wrong. The gearbox will have to be rebuilt, but there's no one on the North Island in New Zealand that can do it. So what I intend to do is put the airplane back together, get it flying, and then immediately fly it down to the South Island and get the gearbox rebuilt. Because that then completely, yeah, this motor will be good for the next 1,000, 2,000 hours then. So, yeah, that's basically what's been happening with this whole rigmarole. It's been tough. It's been really tough trying to get this airplane done. I've had to delay a lot of trips. It's been a pretty big financial knock, which will most likely require me to sell the airplane sooner than I would have liked to. But yeah, there are other things on the horizon which I can't quite disclose yet, but another airplane that'll be based in the US, and I can't afford to have two, so yeah, it'll have to be one or the other, and the other one is going to be pretty epic, so I'd rather have that, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. I feel like I could have given you guys a bit more of a tour, but there really isn't much to this airplane. So yeah, that'll probably wrap up the tour. I just want to say huge thanks to all you patrons. Like, I am still struggling to grow this channel and trying to make it something sustainable, and Patreon right now is the only thing that's really enabling that. So I really do appreciate you guys' support, and I am working super hard to find ways to pay it back to you guys. I'm going to, in some other capacity, find a way to yeah, to make it worth your while. So I really appreciate all the help, and yeah, I'm just super stoked on the little community we have here, and it's cool to be part of that. It really is. So yeah, again, huge thanks, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days with a working airplane, hopefully. Man, that'll be so good to have a working airplane. Yeah, we'll get flying, I guess. We'll build and then fly. Both things that I really love, so peace out, and thanks for the support.